What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Christian Hanahar here with another Christian's Cult Classics. You're probably saying, well, Christian, why didn't you do a Survivor the sequels on that? Because it is a sequel. I just wanted to sit here on the throne and talk about this movie because I really do like it, and I was having trouble coming up with 5 reasons why. Not because I don't have enough reasons, but how to articulate them. So I figured, let's just talk about this really cool movie. Texas Chainsaw 3D. This was a great theater experience for me. I remember going to the theater to see Texas Chainsaw 3D. I had just graduated nursing school. I was excited. I was getting ready to start my future, even though it changed dramatically. But at the time, I wasn't the biggest Texas Chainsaw fan like I am now. Now I adore the franchise. I love all the movies. But I was like, you know what? Let's go see this because a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, that's going to be really cool. But at the same time, I didn't have my hopes up incredibly high, if that makes sense. You just don't expect much. Let's be honest. We were just starting to get past the remake phase, so this movie kind of fell in a weird spot when it came out. But then when you watch the movie, you realize, well, it's not a remake, it's like a sequel. As a matter of fact, it's kind of like Halloween 2018. It's a direct sequel to the original. But what I really liked about Texas Chainsaw was they didn't necessarily change anything from the first movie. They kind of just show a little bit more behind the scenes type things that happened during the first movie. So without changing it, they just kind of show different elements that you never saw back in 1974. So I can kind of appreciate that. Pretty cool. Plus, in the opening scene, you had a lot of recognizable faces, which I really appreciated. Now, when it comes to Texas Chainsaw 3D, the reason I really like this movie was it's not trying to be the best in the franchise. Now, that may sound kind of weird, but I think what this movie was trying to do was just be a really enjoyable Texas Chainsaw Massacre entry, and I can really enjoy it because of that. The characters in this movie, I'd like that there wasn't a whole bunch. You have these core group of girls and core group of guys. They start to kind of fade off rather quickly, but in good fashion. It's rooted in the family of the Texas Chainsaw Massacres. It's rooted in the Sawyers, which is really nice. This movie feels like Texas 150%. Even so more than a movie like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 to me, which I think is one of the greatest horror movies ever made. But it doesn't feel so much like Texas in certain parts of the movie. I guess because when you get to certain parts, you're underground, you're dealing with this, they got this secret lair that they family lives in. Albeit, what I really like about this movie was from the start to the finish, once they hit Texas, it feels like Texas, and I just really like that. It's kind of close to home to me because I'm not far from Texas whatsoever. They made Leatherface look extremely strong and evil in this movie, which is really nice, especially considering the fact that he's kind of a sympathetic, good character. Some of the greatest scenes are when he's taking the chainsaw into the casket and it's supposed to be a 3D effect. In the theater, it came across pretty darn cool. I really liked it. Other great scenes is when the guy who's dating the wild girl is going down into that basement and he's looking down that dark tunnel, and all of a sudden Leatherface just comes out of nowhere, but you knew he was coming, but God, when he came out, it got me in the theater. I was like, oh God. It was great. I mean, it really was a fun movie. I'm starting to see that Texas Chainsaw 3D seems to be getting some more love, and I really like that because, quite honestly, it is a fun entry in the franchise. It really is. I'd put it on par with a Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 or any movie like that. It's not the best in the franchise, but that's okay because the first is the all-time greatest horror movie ever made. But Texas Chainsaw 3D is a fun entry with some cool twists and turns without making the movie silly. I love the twists and turns they did. Who starts out to seem bad ends up kind of being good, but still a force to be reckoned with, if you know what I mean. So all in all, if you haven't seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D, just because of the hesitance of it, it seems kind of hokey, especially with a 3D aspect, I urge you, don't worry about that. First of all, you don't have to watch the movie in 3D anyway. This is a Blu-ray 3D, but I got it because it came with a regular Blu-ray. This movie is fun to the core, and it's a great watch. I watch it at least once every 4 to 5 months because it's that fun. I have a blast watching it. Texas Chainsaw 3D is the name of this movie, and I highly suggest you see it. Thank you guys for watching.